afternoon, everyone. Kumusta po ang ating lunch? Okay, kami, linanok na lang namin. Okay po, before tayo mag-start, magkaroon po muna tayo ng isang icebreaker. So, meron po akong game dito. Ayan, nakikita nyo na po ba? Ayan. Game na po ba? So, eto po, paunahan po ulit tayo ng pagsagot. So, patype na lang po sa chat box ng tamang sagot. For those who are viewing po sa ating YouTube channel, you may join us din po. So, kailangan lang po mabilis din po ang inyong pag-type. So, for our prize, we have 100 peso worth of mobile load din po ulit. So kung sino pong manalo dito, please message us privately po and then choice nyo po kung globe or smart. So, okay na po ba? Can we begin? Okay. So here is our first. Okay. Ang tawag natin sa game na to is zoom in. Who is this?
What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? This is a dog. That is a cat. What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? This is a frog. That is a hat. What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? This is a ball. That is a bat. What's this? What's that?
Ang aking boses kanina. Try ko na lang pong i-share ulit. Okay, so this is our first picture. Guess who? Okay, marami na parang pa-check na lang po kung sino po ang nauuna. So we have Mickey Mouse. Meron pa po bang ibang answer? So ang una natin is from BPLO Odiongan Romblon. So check natin kung tama.
What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? This is a cow. That is a rat. What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that?
Who is this? Goofy? Amy Marcos? Nancy Binay?
What's this?
Okay.
What's that? What's this?
Nancy Binay.
What's
Okay.
that?
Sige, check po natin.
This is
kung
a
sino
dog.
na.
That is a cat.
Okay, so nakabatang 90.
What's this? What's that?
6 years is the correct answer.
What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? This is a frog. That is a hat. What's this? What's that?
Okay na. Okay. So here is our next picture. Yan. Who is this? Uy, ang bibilis nila. Sige po. Okay. So let's see. It's President Vladimir Putin. So si Sir Brian po ulit. With 2 points. Okay, ito. Sino po ito? Dapat po correct spelling, ha? Okay, let's see. 3, 2, 1. Yan, it's Popeye. Popeye the Sailor Man. Okay, sino po ang nauna? Sir Brian. Wala ka na bang pang-load, Sir Brian?
May utang pa tayo sa kanya.
Oh, may utang pa kami. Nanalo kasi si Sir Brian last time. Okay, ito. Sino po ito? Uy, ang bibilis nila. Sigurado ba kayo? Sigurado po ba kayo? 3, 2, 1. We have DILG Romblon. Ulit.
Natin tatanggitin ng coco lang.
Oo, coconut. So, si Coco Martin. Okay, nakuha na niya 4 out of 5. So, we'll have hanggang 10. Next. Who is this? Okay, buong pangalan po Buong pangalan. Okay. Sino po ang nauna? Nakakuha? Si Ma'am Jade Sevillo. From LGU San Jose. So we have President Donald Trump.
Sumasagot din tayo sa YouTube.
Okay, may mga sumasagot din pala po tayo from YouTube. Okay, who is this? Hi, sir. Okay. Okay. Ako si Ma'am Lu, hindi nagpahuli. Okay, we have Sir Albert Einstein. For the 8th picture, who is this? Favorite po siya ni Rayan.
What? No!
Oh, Chris Aquino! Oh my God! Okay, magagalit si Chris. Okay. Hindi niya na itsurahan. Okay, it's, okay. Vice ganda. So, we have DILG Lubak. Si Sir Michael Angelo Manlon. Sir Mike. Alam ko namang favorite at idol mo talaga si Vice ganda. Okay, for the 9th picture. Mga mommies and daddies dyan, kaya lang kilala po ito. Sir Mike, nanonood ka ba nito?
Na.
Okay. It's Peppa Pig. Last picture. Okay, pare-pareho po ang answers. But let's see kung sino ang pinaka nauna. So we have Tom Cruise. Okay. LGU San Jose ulit. So, meron po bang nag-tie? Okay. Actually, si Sir Brian po ulit. So, I think sweep. Na-sweep ni Sir Brian. Ilan ang nakuha ng 5 points? So, 5 points po ang nakuha niya. 5 correct answers out of 10. So, Sir Brian, alam mo na, dalawang ano ng utang namin sa'yo. Pa-PM na lang or pa-private message na lang po kami. Congratulations po. Okay, so with this po, we will proceed na po agad sa ating next topic. Dapat po kanina ito. So to discuss po the regulatory reform for LGUs or R4LGUs information system, we have Mr. Xavier Benedict Astor, DILG Mimaropas Database Administrator. Sir Xavier.
Yes po, share screen. Nag-share screen.
Share screen ka. Okay na po ba, sir? Okay, nag-share screen lang po.
And so, good afternoon po. I'm Xavier Benedict Astor, Database Administrator ng DILG Mimaropa Regional Office. And for this afternoon po, I'll be discussing the regulatory reforms for LGUs or R4LGUs Users Manual. So for first up po, sa overview muna tayo. For the background of the system, our R4LGUs is a web-based application that provides information on all existing regulations and issuances of local government units that are collated and integrated into one database, whether it is related to business or non-business. So yung system din po ay nagpo-provide ng access at nagsisilbing repository siya ng policies issuances or regulations that are still existing mula po sa pinakaluma hanggang sa pinakabago po na amend, na repeal or consolidated. So sa purpose naman po, the portal aims to fast-track the stock-taking, review, and determine whether these policies are redundant, antiquated, outdated, and burdensome to reduce bureaucratic system and procedures. So it also aims to store and retrieve information on the existing regulations that have been amended, consolidated, and repealed or retained most efficiently and effectively. It is also created to cross-reference various regulations imposed by the LGU. So for the features naman po, we have 4. First up is data management. So yung system po ay
Sige, for a while po, check lang po ulit natin.
Hindi siya lang.
Naman ako represent. Wala na ba? Wala na bang ano? Wala na bang plan?
Wala naman. Dalawa na yan.
So please bear with us po. Medyo biglang humina po ang connection namin dito sa regional office. Okay, so we would like to remind everyone po, mga hindi pa po nakakapag-attendance, please do so. Kasi marireceive niyo lang po ang inyong certificate kapag natapos niyo po lahat po ng mga ISO requirements po namin, like po our satisfaction survey. So, kapag nag-out po kayo and nag-in po kayo, meron pong lalabas dun sa hulihan na survey form. So, please po, huwag niyo pong kalimutang gawin po yun. Okay na po ba? Okay, so nandito na rin po ang ating mga RS from Marta. Welcome po. Okay. So we're back po, Sir Xavier.
Okay po. So again po, for the features, we have four. First up is the data management. So yung system po ay capable of storing, retrieving, and managing local ordinances, resolutions, and issuances. Next po is we have the search engine facility. So ito po yung search feature na magagamit yung fog filter kung may gusto po kayong i-search na within range po. And third po is security. So integrated web application security para po maprotektahan against vulnerabilities and masecure po yung nakastore na LGU data. And last po is the system reports. So yung si user po ay makaka-access at makakapag-generate ng system reports. Next page po. So for user roles naman po, we have the central admin, central officer, provincial officer, regional officer, and city or municipality officer. Next page. For acronyms po, first we have the RRTR or the Regulatory Reforms Technical Reports. So yung RRTR po has three types of tertiary regulations, namely local ordinances, issuances, and resolutions, whereby separate technical reports and shall be created for each type. Next page po. So the RRTR also includes the recommended policy option, the list of the other regulations it affects, the rationale for the policy option, and their possible impact when adopted. So we also have the stock taking tool. So ito po ay inventory of all local ordinances, issuances, and resolutions na ginawa ni LGU. Next page po. So for signing up and signing in po, we need internet connection and web browser po. Pwedeng Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox and any other web browsers po. Just type in sa address bar po yung http rr4lgu.dilg.gov.ph and click nyo lang po yung login to your account button. So for for DILG employees, kung hindi nyo po siya nakikita sa intranet under my applications yung R4LGUs, need nyo pong i-contact si RITO para mabigyan po kayong access. So after nyo po i-click yung sign up button, madadirect po kayo sa sign up page. May mga fill upan po kayong fields, and then after nyo po ma-fill upan ay i-enter nyo po yung CAPTCHA na nasa baba po. Don't forget po kasi that's for security purpose po. And once na-fill upan nyo na po lahat, click nyo lang po yung sign up. So andito po tayo sa login page. So enter nyo lang po yung valid username and password nyo, and then click sign in para makapag-punta na po kayo sa homepage ng RR4LGU. Next po. So dito na po tayo sa system menu. Meron po tayong 5, namely stock taking tool, regulatory reform technical reports or the RRTR, new issuances, submitted reports, and folders. So I'll be tackling each menu po. Next po. So, stock taking tool po muna tayo. So, pag clinic nyo po yung stock taking tool na menu, ito po yung makikita nyo. Yung stock taking tool po pala ay naglalaman ng local ordinances, issuances, and resolutions na ginawa ng LGU. So, mention ko din po kanina na may search engine facility feature itong system. Makikita nyo po siya dyan sa taas na portion ng page, yung search na panel po. So pwede natin siya iset by policy or code number, title, sector, and type. So once na-set nyo na po yung mga filter, click nyo lang po yung search button. And kung gusto nyo naman po kung nagbago po isip nyo ng gusto nyong search at palitan yung criteria, click nyo lang po yung reset. And meron din po tayong toolbar which consists of tatlong buttons po and yung repository po. Next page po. So for uploading po of accomplished stock taking tool Excel template, makikita po siya sa bottom part ng homepage po ng R4LGUs. So, i-click nyo lang po yung file link, yung color blue na Word na file para ma-download po yung stock taking tool Excel template. Next po. So, once na-download nyo na po at na-fill-upan nyo na, i-click nyo lang po yung upload button dun sa stock taking tool menu. And we have two ways po para makapag-upload. Pwede nyo siyang i-drag and drop sa area na yan or pwede nyo pong i-select file or browse. So click nyo lang po yung select file and then pipiliin nyo po kung saan located yung stock taking tool Excel template file. So once na kapag-upload na po, makikita nyo po yung mga file ng recently uploaded po. And para po makita nyo yung entry, i-click nyo lang po yung view button po. So kung gusto nyo naman pong i-edit yung in-upload na ordinance or issuance, click nyo lang po yung pen icon and may pop-up form po na lalabas. And once tapos na po kayo mag-edit, click nyo lang po yung save. So ayan po yung pop-up form and makita po yung save button sa bottom right portion po nung pop-up form. And kung gusto nyo naman po i-delete yung record, click nyo lang po yung trash bin icon. So once clinic nyo po yung trash bin icon, may magpa-prompt po kung gusto nyo talaga i-delete yung record. And pag clinic nyo po yung cancel, hindi po matutuloy yung pag-delete. Pag okay naman po ay tuluyan na pong ma-remove yung entry. Next page po. So dito naman po tayo sa pag-verify ng uploaded ordinance or issuance. So to verify po yung uploaded ordinance or issuance, i-check lang po yung box na katabi po nung yung pinakaunang column po dun sa list of entry. And then once na select nyo na po, click nyo lang po yung mark as verified button sa taas po. So once na na-click nyo na po yung mark as verified, magre-reflect na po yung item dun sa existing repository of ordinance or issuances. So next page po. So sa pag-view naman po ng verified ordinance or issuance sa stock taking tool, again, punta lang po tayo sa stock taking tool. And ito po tayo sa encoding of individual ordinance or issuances. So para makapag-encode po tayo manually, i-click lang po natin yung Add Ordinance or Issuance button sa stock taking tool po. So once clinic nyo po yung button, ma-direct kayo sa page na ito. Kailangan nyo po itong fill upan and may instruction po sa taas na pag may asterisk po na color red, ibig sabihin required po siyang fill upan. Next page. So bago nyo po i-click yung save, i-double check nyo po kung na-fill upan nyo yung mga required fields kasi hindi po siya masisave once na may missing answers pa po kayo dun sa required fields. So kung okay naman na po, click nyo lang po yung save na located sa bottom right part ng page po. So sa pag-view naman po ng and verify ng encoded ordinance or issuance, i-click lang natin yung encoded list. Then makikita nyo po yung mga list ng unverified encoded ordinance or issuance. So same lang din po, para po ma-verify siya, i-click nyo lang yung checkbox na katabi nung column na policy number or code. And then may mag-appear po sa taas na button na verify and click nyo lang po yun para ma-execute po yung verification. So sa pag-edit naman po or update ng encoded ordinance or issuance, i-click lang po yung pen icon. So ayan po, mapupunta kayo sa form and then i-edit nyo lang po kung alin yung gusto nyong palitan na sagot sa mga field. And then once okay na po, click nyo po yung save button sa baba. So sa pag-accomplish naman po ng regulatory reforms, technical reports or RRTR, i-click nyo lang po yung eye icon or yung view dun po sa list. And then, sige po, next page po. Ayan po, click nyo lang yung, pag once na view nyo na po, may makita kayong button na accomplish report and click nyo lang po yan, previous page po. And then once na ano nyo na po, na-fill-upan nyo na, click nyo lang po yung save to save the report po. So dito naman po tayo sa pag-consolidate ng ordinance or issuances. So to consolidate po, kailangan lang natin i-click yung consolidate to, and this will depend po sa current level. So kung city municipality po si user, ang makikita niya po is consolidate to province. So ito po is to submit the list of ordinance or issuances. Sa pag-extract naman po ng RRTR to to Microsoft Excel form or template, i-click nyo lang po yung export to Excel button para ma-generate yung spreadsheet ng report. And magda-download na po siya automatically and check nyo na lang po yung downloads nyo and mahanap nyo po dun yung Excel form po. So sa new issuances naman po, sa new issuances po, nandito yung mga bagong ordinance or issuance na galing sa regulatory reform technical reports or RRTR na nagawa po. So, para makita po yung list of new ordinance or issuance, sa menu po ulit, i-click yung new issuances button located po sa left sidebar navigation. Para ma-view nyo po yung entry na new ordinance or issuance, i-click lang po yung mata or eye icon. Next page po. Para naman po i-delete nyo yung entry, i-click nyo lang po yung trash bin icon. So, andito na po tayo sa isa pang menu, yung regulatory reforms, technical reports, or RRTR. So, sa RRTR po, nandito yung list ng mga accomplished forms ng LGU or province. And nandito din po yung recommended policy option, list of regulations. It affects the rationality for the policy option and their possible impact of when adopted. Next po. So sa pag-view po ng regulatory reform technical reports, click lang po natin yung regulatory reform technical reports button na located po sa left sidebar navigation or yung menu. And same lang din po, pag gusto niyo pong i-update yung entry, i-click nyo lang po yung pencil icon dun sa list. And once, ayun po, i-update nyo na yung form. And once okay na po kayo sa mga nilagay nyong entry, click nyo lang po yung save button. Sa pag-delete naman po ng regulatory reform technical reports, click nyo lang po yung trash bin icon. And sa submission naman po, i-click nyo po yung eye icon para makita po yung report. And once na naklik nyo na po yung eye icon, madadirect kayo sa page na to and makikita nyo po yung submit to, depende po kung sino po yung user na naka-access ngayon. So kung si city or municipality po yung user, makikita niya is submit to province button. Next page po. And may pop-up form po na mag-appear. And then kailangan nyo lang po mag-add ng title at i-click po yung save once okay na po. So dito naman po sa submitted reports, nandito yung list po ng submitted reports. So self-explanatory naman po siya. I-click lang po natin yung submitted reports button na nasa left sidebar navigation or yung menu. Once na click nyo na po siya, i-click nyo po sa list yung eye icon. And sa pag-delete naman po, click lang din po yung trash bin icon. So, eto na po sa folders. Nandito po, pwede nyo po dito i-group yung mga reports. So, sa pag-view po ng reports on a specific folder, i-click nyo lang po yung folders button sa left sidebar navigation or sa menu, and then select from the list of folders created. So kung gusto nyo po mag-create ng bagong folder, i-click nyo lang po yung create folder na located po sa bottom ng folders menu. And then may magpo-prompt po na required po lagyan nyo ng name, and once may name na po kayo, i-click nyo lang po yung save. So sa pag-add naman po ng regulatory reform technical report to a specific folder, i-check nyo lang po yung box na katabi ng status column, and then click nyo lang po yung add to button sa toolbar. So ayan po yung add to button, and then magsaselect po kayo dyan ng folder kung saan nyo gusto ilagay. And then dito naman po sa submission of reports from a specific folder, una nyo lang pong gagawin is i-check ulit yung box, and then i-click po yung submit. And magpo-prompt po ulit siya ng title. Once na nalagyan nyo na po ng report title, click nyo lang po yung submit button. So that would be all po for my presentation. Thank you po.
Thank you very much, sir. Hello. Thank you very much, Sir Xavier. Any questions po regarding po sa ating system, or for LGUs information system? Hello, may mga participants na po ba tayo dito? Ayan, wala. Okay, sa YouTube, wala tayong question. Okay, meron ditong isa from Maria Gina LA. Okay. Sa title ng ordinance, pwede po ba na di na i-complete ang i-encode? Hindi complete ang title. Yun po ba? Kasi mahaba. Ma'am Maria Gina, tama po ba? Kahit hindi complete ang title na i-encode ng ordinance, pwede po bang incomplete ang title ng i-encode sa ating system? I think yun po ang ibig sabihin ni Ma'am Gina. Ma'am, pwede po kayong mag-unmute, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
May mga ordinance kami na mahahaba po masyadong title. Can we make it
Yes, ma'am. Copy po that. Ibig po sabihin ko pwedeng incomplete yung or paiklian lang yung i-encode.
Yes.
Mas advisable po sana na complete yung i-encode para walang discrepancy. Pero kung di naman po kaya ng character numbers, okay lang naman din po.
Okay. Hello, Ma'am Gina. Narinig niyo po yung answer?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you po for your question. Any other questions po? Okay, I think meron tayo from Gasan.
Hello.
Yan, hello. Okay, meron po bang ibang question? Pwede po kayong mag-unmute. Okay, if wala na pong other question, pwede na tayo mag-proceed sa ating next topic. Okay, going once, going twice. Ano po? Ask questions or forever hold your peace. Okay, mukhang wala talaga. Okay, so for our next discussion, for the overview of the Philippine Business Registration Information System, or the PBRIS, may I call on our speakers from the Anti-Red Tape Authority, Ms. Evangeline Mabiog and Mr. Carlemil Jacosalem. Namin, sir.
Hello, good afternoon po. I'm Carl Hakosalempov and with me po is Miss Angel Magbiog.
Hello, sir.
I'll be sharing our screen po for the presentation. Can you see po my screen?
Clear po, sir.
Okay po. So good afternoon po once again. I'm Carl po and with me po is Angel. And also with us po is Miss Karen Nakitana, our Assistant Division Chief. We're from the Anti-Red Tape Authority Better Regulations Office, and we're here po to discuss the Philippine Business Regulations Information System. So to provide an overview po of the presentation, we will be presenting the following outline. So first, we will be discussing po the regulatory environment here in the Philippines, to be followed by a discussion on the PBRIS and its alignment with the government plan on good regulatory practices, the functions of PBRIS 2.0, and the plans of the authority with the implementation of the PBRIS. And lastly, we'll be ending with a short video presentation regarding the rationale behind the PBRIS. So to begin po the discussion, let's begin po the discussion on the regulatory environment. So as we all know po, to address the needs of society, one power granted to the government is the power to issue regulations. Regulations establish the rules of the economy, which affect businesses, the public, and also the government. So it is intended that regulations establish a level playing field for both public and private interests, encouraging innovation and provision of proper incentives which contribute to economic growth and development. However, let us take into consideration that regulations entail both benefits and costs. So one practical cost is reading through numerous pages of text, but this entails that we will get benefit for society. However, another important consideration is that not all regulations are properly designed, and those that are poorly designed create more costs than benefits. So what are some examples of these costs? Some include deciphering confusing provisions, and there are also regulations that conflict with regulations issued by other government agencies. Designing good regulations, however, require institutional knowledge. So it takes into account context and historical events that one must consider in designing a regulation. Hence, these information are not easily transferable and self-evident in reading a regulation. Therefore, there needs to be research and technical know-how when issuing regulations. In addition, with the growing interconnectedness of the world and the evolution of businesses and the economy, understanding regulations within one sector is not enough. Further, it's not also enough to just understand regulations in one country. Foreign, national, and local regulations often interact, which affect the activities of both the public and the private sector. Moreover, worldwide, there are hundreds of laws, regulations, amendments, guidelines, and standards that individuals must comply with. So the Philippines po is not an exception. It also has its own primary legislation, national government regulations, and local government ordinances. Over time, these regulations evolve as new regulations are issued and regulators are added and or removed. So unless there is a significant whole of government action to manage regulations here in the Philippines, the ever-expanding universe will become difficult and burdensome for both the private sector and the government to keep up with. So one initiative of the Philippine government, and particularly ARTA, is the development of the Philippine Business Regulations Information System, which is a web-based platform providing accessible information on the Philippine regulatory management system and laws and regulations relevant to the public as mandated by Republic Act 11032. So the PBRIS is aligned with the different development plans of the Philippines regulations that the government issues and international recommendations such as the ASEAN Good Regulatory Practice Core Principles. So looking into the ASEAN Good Regulatory Practice Core Principles, the PBRIS is aligned with Principle 6, which recommends to economies, to member economies, that regulations should be subject to regular review for continued relevance, efficiency, and effectiveness. So there should be systemic monitoring of regulatory performance and appropriate conduct of policy evaluation such as regulatory impact analysis. So before we issue a regulation, there must be appropriate evaluation to be conducted by government agencies in order to produce quality regulations that are evidence-based and feasible. The PBRIS is also aligned with Principle 3, which recommends that regulations and regulators be consistent, transparent, and practical. So there should be access to accurate, easy to understand, and accessible information on regulations, which must be available to relevant stakeholders. And the next principle is Principle 5, which recommends that there should be stakeholder engagement and participation throughout the policy cycle. So stakeholder consultation and engagement is a continuous process across all stages of the regulatory cycle, from the intent to draft a regulation up to its eventual implementation and evaluation. Recognizing the need to institutionalize good regulatory practice, the current administration included in the Philippine Development Plan 2017 to 2022, Chapter 5, Subsector Outcome to Seamless Service Delivery achieved the need to modernize government regulatory practices and the establishment of a national regulatory architecture. So part of the architecture is the creation of an appropriate institutional infrastructure to manage regulations, the regulatory making and review process, a public consultation process, and the development of the Philippine Business Regulations Information System. And recognizing the need to develop this, the Congress included in Republic Act 11032 the creation of the Anti-Red Tape Authority and its powers to review existing laws, executive issuances, and local ordinances. So ARTA will be coordinating with all government offices covered by the Act in the review of existing regulations, as well as all proposed regulations of government agencies. So the review is done in order to establish if regulations add undue regulatory burden and cost to the agencies and the transacting public and relevant stakeholders. And specifically under Section 17K of the Act, the law mandates ARTA to create the Philippine Business Regulations Information System, which shall ensure the dissemination of and public access to information on regulatory management system and changes in laws and regulations relevant to the public. All of which I have mentioned will be included, the processes involved, and the institutional arrangements across all agencies of government will be included in the National Policy on Regulatory Management System, which shall be issued by ARTA uh, in the coming years. So ARTA will be developing the national policy that shall institutionalize good regulatory practices in the Philippine government with support from UP Respond. So to discuss the features of the Philippine Business Regulations Information System 2.0, may I yield the floor to Ms. Angel to discuss the features.
Yes, thank you, Carl. Let's now discuss po, as mentioned, the features for the BIBRIS 2.0. Ayan. So, this includes po three main features, and that would be the improvement of accessibility and user experience, updating the inventory of regulations, and to provide a platform for the regulatory management process. So, for the improvement of accessibility and user experience, in PIBRIS 1.0, the regulations are categorized only by the issuing agency. However, for PIBRIS 2.0, we will further categorize them preliminarily according to business or non-business related regulations. And then this business and non-business regulations can be further classified according to the sector or stage of life, the case use, and its locality. Ayan. For the business-related regulations, subcategories will include the sectors or industries identified under the Philippine Standard Industrial Classification or PSIC 2009 released by the PSA. So this is to categorize our regulations according to the nature of activities undertaken by businesses. And further, and this business Hello?
Yes.
Okay. So again, we will first classify po business-related regulations per sector or industry according to the PSIC, and additionally, we will also categorize them according to case use. Next slide. Ayan. The case use po will be based on the World Bank Doing Business cycle, and that includes opening a business, operating a business, and then closing a business. So it will contain po all the regulations related to this specific stages in a business's life cycle. Next. Ayan. For non-business related regulations, on the other hand, we will categorize them according to the stages of life in a citizen's life cycle. So that's from birth to old age, which may then again be further categorized by case use. And by case use, we mean the exact points of engagement that a person will encounter as he or she goes along each stage of life. So we can further narrow down the regulations to exact moments and events wherein regulations apply to an individual. And lastly, regulations will also be categorized according to locality, and this locality refers to the geographical scope of a regulation. Through this, regulations can be filtered to determine those that apply on a specific province or city and those that are applied for the entire country or at the national level. And the classification by locality po will be applied for both business and non-business related regulations. Okay, moving on to the next feature, that would be on the updating of inventory of regulations. Ayan. So we already have a proposed process flow for the uploading of regulations, which will include the participation of agencies. This is because ARTA recognizes that it is more ideal for agencies to be capable of uploading directly to the PIBRIS while ARTA provides oversight. So just to give you a brief description po of the proposed process, first, the agency prepares the regulation using the PIBRIS template, which will be accessible po in the PIBRIS 2.0 website once developed. And then the agency will upload the regulation and then tag the regulation based on the necessary classification, such as if it is business related, non-business related, from what sector does it belong to, etc. And then agencies will have to assign a validator of their entries or regulations. The agency will validate the tags of the regulation, and then this will be submitted to the ARTA Better Regulations Office for review. And once cleared for upload, these regulations may now be reflected in the PIBRIS 2.0 website. Okay, so next slide, please. And so finally, we also aim for PIBRIS 2.0 to serve as a platform for regulatory management process. And first of which will be through a unified portal for commenting and notification. So there will be a dashboard showing relevant information on proposed and existing regulations to undergo consultation or review. And as this will facilitate public consultations, users will have to register to PIBRIS to have access to the commenting feature, among other functionalities pa. Yan. Next slide. Yan. Lastly, PIBRIS 2.0 will have a back-end portal for the submission and review of regulatory impact statements, which shall be made accessible to executive regulatory agencies, ARTA Better Regulations Office, and other relevant institutions in the rulemaking process. So flashed po in our screen right now is the proposed ex-ante regulatory impact assessment. This has 4 stages po: the pre-rule stage, proposed rule stage, interim rule stage, and final rule stage. But this process po has yet to be finalized. It's still up for discussion. And ARTA will release the proper guidelines naman po on the process for RIA once it's already finalized. All right. So next slide. So moving forward with PIBRIS, we are currently conducting a series of functional specifications elicitation workshops in order to ensure that the aforesaid proposed features for development of PIBRIS 2.0 are relevant and fitting to the needs of its intended stakeholders. And so we have been in cooperation po with 35 priority agencies of ARTA, including 3 LGUs, QC, Pasig, and Manila. Ayan. Inputs gathered from the workshops will be consolidated into a final FS document, which will serve as a reference to the system developers. And in total, we have already conducted 15 out of the 31 sessions for functional specifications elicitation, and this shall go on po from August to November 2020. And on average, we have had 27 participating agencies in the FS workshops. And I think that's it for our presentation on PIBRIS and the development of PIBRIS 2.0. Now we will end our presentation with a video from the Minnesota Public Radio po to provide a better appreciation on the importance of regulations, regulatory information, and regulatory management in general po for everyone. So let's watch this video po, and thank you again for having us today.
From the second you open your eyes in the morning, your life is full of federal regulations. Congress writes laws and leaves it to government agencies to write the rules or regulations to enforce those laws. That iPhone you use as an alarm clock, it's been certified by the Federal Trade Commission, which makes sure all phones sold in the United States comply with guidelines on radio frequency energy emission levels. And its signal comes from towers approved by the Federal Communications Commission, the Environmental Protection Agency, and even the Federal Aviation Administration.
It's a lot of information first thing in the morning.
The Environmental Protection Agency sets specific safety standards for the water that comes out of your faucet and requires new faucets to flow at no more than 2.5 gallons per minute. Oh, soap.
What now?
To be considered soap, that bar needs to meet specific criteria from the Food and Drug Administration. Then its ingredients are inspected by the Consumer Product Safety Commission to make sure what you're using is actually soap.
It is.
Are you sure? If that bar claims to alter the appearance of your skin by moisturizing or beautifying, it can be considered a cosmetic. And the FDA hardly regulates those at all.
Wait, what?
Breakfast. The most regulated meal of the morning.
Uh-oh.
The Federal Trade Commission regulates every single word on your box of cereal, from the size of the type on the nutritional information panel to the adjectives used to describe it. Those healthy Wheatos can't be called healthy without FTC approval.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. That banana you've got there, it had to be accompanied by a phytosanitary certificate that states it was grown, packed, inspected, and found to be free of quarantine pests.
That sounds like a lot of hoopla for a banana.
And that hoopla can cause goods to be more expensive, but it can also make what we buy and use safer.
Okay, I get it. There are federal regulations everywhere, and they're here to help us.
Well, that's the intention. And do you know how many regulations there are?
Lots?
There are over 170,000 dense pages in the most recent Code of Federal Regulations. That means it would take you more than 3 years of 40-hour work weeks to read through it.
Well, speaking of work, I'm gonna be late.
You think there are a lot of regulations in here? Just wait until you get outside.
Okay. So thank you very much po. I think we have a question here from Sir Felix Echeverria Jr. It is addressed po sa RTAB. Can anti-red tape authority both penalize administrative, civil, and criminal charges to those public officials and employees who violated RA 11302? Ayan, so,
Hello po.
PRRS from ARTA po. Yes, Ma'am Angel.
Yan. According to Section 22 po of RA 11032, penalties and liabilities. So may first, any violations of the preceding actions will warrant the following penalties. So sa first offense po, may administrative liability with 6 months suspension, provided however that in the case of fixing and or collusion with fixers, the penalty and liability under Section 22 shall apply. And sa second offense naman po, administrative liability and criminal liability of dismissal from the service, perpetual disqualification from holding public office, and forfeiture of retirement benefits and imprisonment of 1 year to 6 years, with a fine of not less than 500,000 pesos but not more than 2 million pesos po ang ating pwede maging liable po ang ating government officials or employees.
And yan po, Sir Felix, nasagot po. No? Ma'am Angel, thank you for clarifying that. So yun po, sabi nga po natin nung nakaraan, meron po tayong 2-strike policy under the EODB law. So other questions po? Ay, oo. So balikan po natin, Ma'am Angel. So meron po kasi ditong tanong si Sir Felix din kanina. So sa dami ng batas natin sa ARTA o RA 9514, CSC, where's the question? Nawala po yung question. Ayan. CSC RA 6713 at ito nga RA 11032, bakit po mababa pa rin ang ranking ng Pilipinas sa Corruption Survey Index? Ano po kaya ang problema since sagana na tayo sa batas? Maybe po meron kayong pwedeng maisagot po dito.
Hello po, this is Carl po from the Better Regulations Office din po.
Yes po, Sir Carl.
Regarding po dun sa question on sa Corruption Perception Index, besides po sa areas na ina-address po ng ARTA, which is with regards po sa regulatory issues and service delivery issues, marami din po kasing kino-consider dun sa survey na nirarun po nung private sector group po na nag-run po ng survey. Bale yung transparency.org po yung gumawa and marami po siyang factors, and one area lang po ng index na yun is yung service delivery po and regulatory issues. So as much po na meron tayong batas na nagre-require po ng standard sa pag-deliver po ng service and mga restrictions po sa mga unethical practices po such as fixing, hindi naman po niya entirely masasagot po yung ibang aspects na kino-cover po. Pero with regards po sa RA 11032, nasa initial pa lang naman po tayo ng implementation nito. So yung impact po niya ay magre-reflect din po in the coming years. And if nabalitaan niyo po, binigyan po ng panibagong emergency powers po si Presidente Duterte para po ma-address yung mga red tape issues ngayon, lalo na po ngayong panahon ng pandemya na kailangan po natin mag-adapt sa mga health measures na ini-implement po.
And Sir Carl, thank you po for clarifying that. Yun nga po yung sabi po natin kanina, medyo complex din po yung mga indicators po ng Corruption Survey Index po na sinasabi po ni Sir Felix. So tama nga po, ito nga po ang ating EODB law is medyo bata pa din. At nagsa-start pa lang tayo. But we can see na po na tumataas na po ang rankings natin sa when it comes to competitiveness index. Other questions po from YouTube po? Meron po bang pumapasok? Okay, wala po. Okay, parang wala na gusto mag-ganap. Unmute po kayo. Okay, mukhang wala na. Sige po, if wala pong question, siguro po mag-break po muna tayo. Bladder break po muna tayo ng 5 minutes.
Hindi pa rin sila lang tinawag.
o ang Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Government Service Delivery 2018. At para mas malaman pa natin kung paano tayo natutulungan ng batas na ito at sino-sino ang nasa likod ng implementasyon nito, ay makakapanayam natin si Director Ana Bonagua mula sa DILG Bureau of Local Government Development. Tara! Hi, ma'am! Good morning po! Kamusta po kayo?
Mabuti naman.
Hi, Director Ana. So, Bago po natin alamin kung paano nga ba ginagawa ang ease of doing business at paano ito nakakatulong sa ating mamamayan, gusto lang po namin malaman kung ano nga po ba ang function ng BLGD as a bureau.
Ang Bureau of Local Government Development ng DILG is one of the staff bureau of the DILG. Kami yung in charge of the formulation of programs, policies, and standards for local government units. We also do capacity building for local government units so that they can deliver the services to their constituently efficiently and effectively.
Can you further enlighten us po dun sa RA 11032? According sa knowledge namin, ay mas nagpapabilis ng proseso at saka yung sistema ng pagpapahatid ng serbisyo sa mga local government units. Ano-ano po ba yung mga provisions ng batas na ito na dapat alam at nakikita ng mamamayan?
Meron tayong bagong batas ngayon para tugunan nga itong improving business in the Philippines. Ito yung RA 11032, ito yung Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Government Service Delivery Act. Maraming provisions dito ay tugon at para ma-improve ang business climate in the Philippines. Una, yung re-engineering of their systems and procedure. Kailangan tingnan, aralin nila para mas ma-improve at mas mapilis ang mga kanilang mga serbisyo. Pangalawa, provision ng the Citizen Charter. Kailangan i-update nila yung kanilang Citizen Charter so that they can provide services in accordance with the timelines provided under the law na sinasabi. Kapag simple transaction, kailangan 3 days lang ito. Pagka complex transaction, may labas nila within 7 days. Pag highly technical, 20 days. Pangatlong provision ay ang zero contact policy kung saan gusto nating iwasan na ang face-to-face transaction ng mga kliyente to the government. Maaring mangyari kung ang government transaction are fully automated at saka online. Pang-apat, yung pag-streamline ng mga procedures, particularly sa business transactions ng local government units. Kailangan ang application for the business permit ay gumagamit ng isang unified form. There should also be a business one-stop shops in the local government units kung saan nandun lahat ang mga serbisyo na kailangan ng isang private sector.
Ano po yung magiging consequences ng mga offenses na ito kapag na-commit po siya ng mga government entities against their clients?
Under the law, there are 2-strike policy. Very strict ang law na for the first offense, if they are really found guilty after several validation, ang penalty nito ay 6 months suspension from office without salary. Second offense, kung umulit pa siya of the same violation, ang kanyang penalty will be removal from office without any retirement and possibly payment of penalty of around 500,000 to 2 million pesos. So, both criminal and administrative liability.
Kinino po ba pwedeng lumapit yung mga kliyente ng LGUs if in case meron silang complaints regarding sa, kunwari, hindi na process according dun sa, di ba isa po dun sa mga provisions ay reduced processing time. Kinino po sila pwedeng lumapit?
Una, pwede silang tumawag sa 888 ng Civil Service Commission at pwede rin silang dumiretso sa ARTA, the Anti-Red Tape Authority, kasi meron na din silang hotline. At pwede rin naman silang lumapit, particularly yung complaints sa local government units, pwede rin silang lumapit sa DILG, meron kaming DILG help desk.
Ano naman po yung initiatives, kumbaga, ng ating departamento kung paano natin matutulungan pa yung mga LGUs to become more competitive in terms of business?
Marami na tayong ginawa, no, way back siguro 2010, pero ito recently, 2016, kami nagsimula ng mga massive campaign for improving doing business in the localities. Meron tayong policy and capacity building para sa local government units to improve and streamline their services for the business permitting process. Kasunod ito or tugon doon sa joint memorandum circular inisyu ng DILG kasama ang DTI at saka ang DICT on the revised standards for the issuance of the business permit. Dito isinasaad kung gaano ka na dapat 2 araw lamang ang pag-issue ng business permit.
Ano po yung gusto nyo maging mensahe sa ating mga stakeholders, ika nga yung mga LGUs, mga investors natin, at saka syempre sa public?
The LGU should start pre-engineering process in their local government units, particularly now that there are new set of local officials who will be taking oath in June 30. Sa atin namang private sector, we appeal to them, they be patient in the reforms that we are doing in the local government units as well as provide feedback on how to further improve the services to them and the activities or the processes that the local government units has been implementing.
Yan. So, I hope tayo po ay tapos na sa ating health break. Now we proceed sa discussion ng ating last topic for today. So this is the promotion of the eBPLS or the IBPLS of the DICT. So may we call on ang ating speakers from DICT, Mr. Clark Christopher Sarmiento and Ms. Mabel Katabay from the DICT Luzon Cluster 3.
Hi, hello po.
Hello, sir.
Good afternoon
Magandang
po.
hapon po.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon po. Ma'am, good afternoon din po everyone, to all our participants. Si Miss Maybel Katabay po from DICT Central Office. Unfortunately, she can't join the Zoom. Pero she's trying naman po this afternoon to be able to join us po for
Ay,
this
sir. Thank you so
online
much
event.
po.
Yes, ma'am. To start, siguro I would like to greet as well our regional director from DILG Mimaropa, Director Suiko, and of course our ARD Ray Maranan. So good afternoon po everyone, and to our regional director and assistant regional director of DILG Region 4B. So on behalf po of Director Cheryl C. Ortega of DICT Luzon Cluster 3, for Mimaropa region and the Bicol region, I'm Clark Christopher Sarmiento po, Information System Analyst under eBPLS project, which is now IBPLS. So later on po maiintindihan niyo po, malalaman niyo kung bakit po IBPLS na yung amin pong system, na parang may transition na po from eBPLS to IBPLS. So I assume na yung mga participants po natin this afternoon are mga may LGUs, and meron din po from DILG provincial offices. Okay, so to start, I will just share with you po yung akin pong short video presentation. Wait lang po. About this will be tackling about the IBPLS. Okay, so wait lang po. Okay, so yan. So this is the IBPLS, or which is the Integrated Business Permits and Licensing System. So dito po sa IBPLS, makikita po natin, or ang composition na po nito ngayon is yung pag-issue po ng building permit and occupancy permit. So how to apply for a building permit? So first, si client, pwede siya mag-apply online, pwede rin po siyang mag-apply ng walk-in. So yan, so sa online application, kailangan po muna yung atin pong client or yung atin pong taxpayer, he or she needs to register first dun po sa URL na ibibigay po natin sa mga LGUs. So if yung LGU po ay meron na pong existing na IBPLS, which we are doing it right now, meron na po kaming naka-pilot na mga LGUs for training. For Mimaropa, meron po tayong isa, yun po yung San Teodoro, Oriental Mindoro. And yon, for future po, mag-engage pa din po kami. And so for online application po, explain ko lang po sa inyo yung flow po ng system. So dito po makakapag-file po ng application yung atin pong mga clients online, and makakapag-upload din po sila ng kanila pong mga documentary requirements. And at the same time, mamamonitor din po nila yung status po ng kanilang application. So no need na po sa kanila na magpunta pa po sa mga LGUs or sa mga offices po para malaman po nila yung status of application. So as we move along, yan, makikita po natin dito yung next steps. So ito po yung unified application form po for the building permit. So of course, yan. So ito po yung mga offices po na involved po sa atin pong building permit. Okay, so meron sila po yung nakakapag-verify po ng mga documents and nakakapag-review ng mga submitted na documents po na required sa atin pong issuance ng building permit. So, sila din po yung nagche-check nito, or pwede rin pong sila po yung mag-upload ng mga documentary requirements on behalf po ng atin pong mga clients. So, pwede pong personal na isubmit po ni client yung kanya pong requirements, pwede rin naman po na online. Ayan, so yan po, document verification. Ito po yung ating pong makikita po sa system for eBPLS. So of course, meron din po tayong mga technical evaluators po. So composition po yan ng mga architects, civil and structural engineers and different fields po sa engineering. And as well as the BFP po, ng atin pong local fire marshal. Yan. So sila po yung ating mga technical evaluators na mag-check po ng mga submitted po na documents po or requirements ng ating pong applicant or client. Yan. So after po nun, yan na po, lalabas na po yung syempre, yung OBO po, sila po yung final na mag-verify yung pong mga application po. And of course, sa assessment po, naka-pattern po ito dun sa atin pong National Building Code of the Philippines or yung NBCP po na tinatawag po natin or yung pong nasa local ordinance and resolution po sa atin pong mga LGUs. So dun po nagbe-base yung mga computation po sa assessment po na ini-issue po sa atin pong building permit. And nakakapag-generate din po tayo dito ng order of payment. So si client, may marireceive po siya sa email niya na order of payment or kahit po yung walk-in, pwede rin po siyang makareceive po or makatanggap po ng order of payment. So ito po yung magiging itsura po ng assessment of fees. Yan. So sa order of payment, of course, magko-collect po nito is yung atin pong treasurer. Yan. Bigyan ko po ng konting sound. Yan. So makakapag-valid po yung atin pong client online or over the counter. Pwede po yun. We have two options naman po. So pagka online, we are encouraging po yung electronic payment na or yung e-payment po na tinatawag. Kasi lalo na po ngayong panahon na ito na napakahirap po na lumabas ng bahay. Pero if meron po tayong activated na po sa atin pong LGU, sa system po natin, yung e-payment, magiging mas comfortable na po yung atin pong mga client, yung mga clients po natin na makapagbayad po online or electronically. And of course, meron pa rin po tayong over the counter na sa ating pong treasury office po sila magbabayad. So ito po yung official receipt na mai-issue. So naka-base pa rin po yan, depende po dun sa ating pong OR, sa ating pong munisipyo. And lastly, makakapag-claim na po. Yan po yung ating pong building permit na may issue po ng ating pong LGU. So, hindi lang po doon, yung ating pong building permit, included na rin po dito yung mga ancillary permits po na tinatawag po natin. So, pwede na pong mag-apply din po yung ating pong mga clients po natin or yung mga taxpayers po natin, pwede na po sila dito mag-apply ng mga electrical permit, local clearance, etc. So dito na po, all-in-one na, kumbaga simultaneous po na application po ng mga permits na kailangan nila, andi dito na po sa system. And of course, yan, yung certificate of completion as well. So yan po yung mga na-generate po with the building permit or din po sa eBPLS po natin. Now, ito naman po yung sa occupancy permit. So, kagaya po na nasabi ko kanina, meron po tayong building permit and meron din po tayong certificate of occupancy na nai-issue po dito po sa system. So, same lang din po siya ng application. So, pwede pong makapag-file online or walk-in and makapag-monitor po ng status of application yung atin pong mga clients. Yan. So, same lang din po yung atin pong form. So, si OBO din po yung atin pong, kumbaga, siya po yung key player po dito. Or siya po yung nag-verify yan, yung mga documents. So, same lang din po siya with the building. So, siya po yung nagre-review, siya yung nagre-verify. Yan, and pwede rin siya po yung mag-upload on behalf po ng ating pong client. So, yan po yung mga lumalabas, of course, for verification and inspection. Same din po with the building. So si Municipal Engineering Office po, yung pong gagawa po nito. And of course, kasama din po dyan yung yung ating pong BFP. So simultaneous verification of plans. Yan. So balik po siya kay OBO para sa sa assessment po natin. Kasi if sa eBPLS, si BPLO or si Treasury yung para sa assessment, this time si OBO yung mas may alam po sa mga assessment po ng atin pong NBCP. And of course, si Treasury hindi po siya mawawala. So siya po yung nagre-receive po ng atin pong payment, and yan. Generate po siya din order of payment po natin. So, same lang din po siya with the building permit. Two steps or two ways to pay. Pwede pong online and pwede rin pong over the counter. So, yan po yung nag-generate po natin na OR. And after po nun, madali na po yung client. So, marireceive niya na rin po yung kanyang certificate of occupancy. So, yan. So, yan po yung overview about the IBPLS. So, parang pahapiyaw lang po yung atin pong system na naipakita ko po. But to further discuss po yung atin pong difference from the IBPLS and the eBPLS, let me share again my presentation naman. Yan. So, ayan, I think nakikita naman po ng lahat yung akin pong presentation. Ayan, so eBPLS versus IBPLS. Ayan. Okay, so ano po ba yung eBPLS? Yung difference ng dalawa, or ano po ba yung services na kino-cover nila? So for eBPLS, naturally, business permit po yung atin pong ini-issue dito. Solely business permit lang. And dun po sa atin pong bagong update, barangay clearance po ay integrated or embedded na rin po dun sa atin pong eBPLS. And while for IBPLS naman po, dito naman po natin ini-issue yung building permit and yung certificate of occupancy. So syempre, once na okay na po yung atin pong building and in-apply na po natin yung building permit po sa atin pong building na yon, of course, kailangan na po nating mag-apply for the certificate of occupancy. So kasama na rin po siya dun sa IBPLS. Now, doon naman po sa mga key LGU officers or users po ng atin pong system, ang difference po between eBPLS and IBPLS are as follows. So sa eBPLS po, makikita po or mapapansin po ninyo na si BPLO po yung parang siya po yung main office na responsible po for eBPLS. While dito naman po sa IBPLS, yung pong ating OBO or yung ating pong Office of the Building Official. Kasi sila po yung mas nakakaalam po sila, and sila din po yung atin po talagang kumbaga sila talaga yung nag-i-issue ng building permit. And of course, hindi po mawawala yung atin pong IT office. Bakit? Kasi yung atin pong gagamitin dito is a system. So we're utilizing now is are the technologies available. So ito pong eBPLS and IBPLS are a system that are being managed po by IT or computer experts. Kung hindi man experts, kahit IT. So, important po yung IT office talaga. And of course, yung Treasury Office, hindi din po sila mawawala for eBPLS and IBPLS. So, though parehas sila na collecting agent or parehas po sila na nagko-collect po ng payment, sa eBPLS po kasi si Treasurer, siya po yung nag-assess po ng mga fees. Di po ba dun sa local revenue code? Sila po yung nasa assessment. So while dito naman po sa IBPLS, ang parang core function po ni Treasury Office or ni Treasurer is yung collection lang po ng payment. Kasi ang nagawa na po nung sa assessment po para po sa building permit ay si OBO na or si Office of the Building Official. And of course, yung BFP po, hindi din po sila mawawala, yung ating pong local fire marshals. kasama din po sila dun po sa ating mga key LGU officers po sa eBPLS and IBPLS. And of course, yung mga LGU endorsing offices naman po sa atin pong eBPLS. So si OBO, si health or si sanitary, and si zoning, or kung meron pa pong ibang endorsing offices, so included din po sila doon. Well, sa IBPLS naman po, ang counterpart po nila is yung mga technical evaluators like yung sa electrical, architectural, civil, structural, yan, etc. So, next slide is ito po yung atin pong status of implementation for eBPLS and IBPLS. So, yung eBPLS po kasi natin, this was developed in 2017. 1 year after po na ma-develop or ma-establish po yung DICT. So, marami na po kaming mga updates na nagawa dito po sa eBPLS. And currently po, meron na po tayo na 355 LGUs na gumagamit na po ng atin pong system with eBPLS. And syempre yung atin pong mga status po ngayon dito po sa 355 na to is either operational or they are pilot implementing, or nag-ongoing po yung kanilang data banking or data build-up. And yung iba naman po, like for example, yung LGU Sablayan, meron na po sila ngayong training, ongoing training. Ayan. Well, for the IBPLS naman po, this was developed in 2019. So, at the latter part na po. And currently, meron po tayong pilot implementation na tina-target. 16 LGUs po yan. So, later on, makikita nyo po kung sino-sino po yung 16 LGUs na yan. But for Mimaropa, gaya nga po nung nasabi ko po kanina, kung mapapansin nyo po siguro doon sa virtual background ko, I'm also conducting IBPLS training po ngayon. Kasabay po namin ng Mindanao LGUs. So sa Mimaropa po, si Sancho Doro, Oriental Mindoro po, yung pong ating pong pilot LGU. And yun, so 4 LGUs on pilot testing na po, and 6 ongoing training, and yun, 6 LGUs for training pa lang. So ito po yung atin pong IBPLS. Yan. So sa batch 1 po, this happened last September 14 to 17. Nagkaroon po kami ng first IBPLS users training for Balera Aurora, Paite Laguna, Tobias Fornier Antique, and Dumingag, Zamboanga del Sur. And for batch 2, last week lang po ito. We have Palo Leyte, Pinamungahan, Ilagan, San Guillermo, Lawak, and Dasol, Pangasinan. Ito na po yung currently po na kinokonduct po namin, kaya medyo mapapansin po ninyo sa background ko, medyo iba yung virtual background. So si Sancho Doro para po sa atin, Mimaropa, and then ayan, kasabay po ni Sancho Doro si Plaridel, si Calamba, Misamis Occidental, Salay, Misamis Oriental, Kapatagan, Lanao del Norte, and Kabakan, North Cotabato. So sila na po yung nagte-train po ngayon. Ito po yung last day po nila. Yan, so eBPLS will transition into IBPLS. So yung eBPLS po natin, siguro by next year, magkakaroon na po ng big changes. Kasi magkakaroon na po ng 3 or magiging 4 na po yung atin pong services na makikita doon sa atin pong dashboard. So yung eBPLS po ay may ipasok na po natin dito, of course, yung business permit, yung building permit, yung occupancy permit, and yung pong barangay clearance. So next year, yung atin pong mga pilot or yung atin pong mga implementing eBPLS na po ng mga LGUs ngayon, sila po yung magiging priority po namin to implement po the IBPLS. Yun. So siguro yung iba po dito ay present naman. Yan. And then, ano po ba yung kailangan po namin for IBPLS adoption? So, ang need lang naman po namin is 4 lang. So, yung letter of intent, syempre kailangan po namin yung full commitment po ng LGU. Kasi yung mga resources po kasi na ginagamit po natin since ito nga po ay free, yung ating pong system, Yung letter of intent, yung commitment lamang po ng LGUs yung amin pong kailangan na makuha. Yung gagamitin po nila yung system. Kasi binabayaran po ito ng DICT, yung budget po. Meron po tayong budget dyan, yung servers po natin, yung cloud provisioning po natin, may bayad po yan. So ito po yung binibigay po natin na part or allotment po dun sa ating pong mga LGUs. And of course, yung ating pong MOA, Memorandum of Agreement, and of course, hindi po mawawala yung SB resolution kasi syempre every time naman po napapasok po tayo sa MOA, naturally magkakaroon po yan ng SB reso. So, and fourth, yung pong mga designation po ng LGU key officers. So, kailangan po natin yan. Yung mga focal person po natin, yung mga system admin po natin, and yung data protection officer if meron po tayo. Okay po, so that ends my presentation for eBPLS. So siguro hold on po muna kayo a bit kasi meron pa rin po akong ipapresent po naman na eBPLS presentation. Yan. So eBPLS naman po tayo. So wait lang po. Play ko lang po yung video. Oh, okay. Share ko lang po yung screen. Ayan. So ito po yung atin pong eBPLS. So the electronic business permits and the licensing system. So ano po ba yung steps when utilizing eBPLS? So sa ating po mga applicants or business owners, pwede po sila mag-apply online and pwede po sila mag-apply walk-in. All they have to do is register po sa mga instances po ng ating po mga LGUs na nag-i-implement na. So they can register online and apply online. So through the LGUs website or Facebook page. Kaya napaka-importante po na meron po sa Facebook page po yung atin pong mga LGUs. And of course, yung atin pong ginagamit po dito is yung unified application form. So pwede po na mag-upload din po dito ng mga documentary requirements yung atin pong mga clients. And mamamonitor din po nila yung mga status ng kanilang application in case po. And of course, may ma-receive din po yung atin po mga client ng tax order of payment po. Okay. So yan po yung unified application form. So as you can see, yan, nag-a-apply po yung client po natin. All they have to do is yan, submit yung kanilang application and upload the needed requirements. So sa una pong bahagi po ng atin pong application, naturally, kay BPLO po unang pupunta yung application po natin or yung application ni applicant para po i-verify. Ano po? So i-check po ni BPLO yung mga requirements na ipinasa as well as yung application form. Yan. So i-review and verify yung application and yung mga details po na sinubmit po ni client. Ito po yung itsura po ng atin pong verification ni BPLO. Yan. Next naman po, papasok na po dito yung mga endorsing offices. So, yung mga endorsing offices po, simultaneous po nila marireceive yung atin pong application po ni client. Once po na ma-verify na po yun ni BPLO, sabay-sabay po yun na marireceive ng mga endorsing offices. So, yan. So mga atin pong mga standard or yung mga default po natin ng mga endorsing offices are the Bureau of Fire, the Office of the Building Official, the Zoning Office, Health Office, and yun. Kung meron pa pong mga other regulatory offices po na present po sa inyo pong LGU, pwede po natin po silang isama po sa system as endorsing office po. So as you can see, they can review the application and check the compliance or if they have violated. Yan. So yan po yung dashboard po ni endorsing office. So marireceive niya din po yung application and yung mga requirements po na pinasa po ni client initially. And for the assessment po, si Treasury, siya po yung si Treasurer, sorry, siya po yung magre-review po nung assessment, and yung sila din po yung makakapag-generate din po ng tax order of payment. So I think just recently may nilabas po na parang memo from I think the DOJ na nagsasabi po na naturally naman po talaga yung atin pong assessment is sa treasury po or sa treasurer po yun na trabaho. Yan. But with the system, naka-BPLO siya, pero ngayon po meron na po mga nagpapalipat po na LGUs from BPLO to the treasurer po. So ito po yung tax order of payment na marireceive po ni client. Yan. The number 2 po, step 2, is once na okay na po yung assessment po kay treasury, pwede na po siyang magbayad electronically kung activated po yung atin pong e-payment sa atin pong LGU, or pwede rin pong magbayad si client over the counter sa Municipal Treasurer's Office. Yan. So ito po yung sample po ng pag-resibo. And step 3, makiklaim na po ni client yung kanya pong business permit. Yan. So, yan po yung ma-generate po ng eBPLS, yung application form, yung EOR. Ano po? EOR is siguro in due time, kung sakasakali po na maging pwede na po ito for with COA, magiging implement na rin po natin yung EOR. But for the meantime, we're still using the natural official receipt, yung hard copy po. And of course, yung tax order of payment, yan, marireceive po yan online ni client if nakapag-register po siya using his or her email address. And of course, ayan, makakukuha na po ni client agad-agad yung kanya pong business permit. Yan. So this is the sample business permit that the system is generating. So yan po. So ito po yung mga newly added features po ng atin pong eBPLS. So yung integrated na po ng processing po ng barangay clearance and yung retirement po ng businesses. Of course, dahil nga po ngayon, meron na po tayong ongoing na pandemic. Siyempre, marami pong mga business ang tinamaan ng atin pong COVID na to. So yeah, marami nag-retire. And of course, yung printing po ng business permit per line of business. Yan po yung newly added feature. And yung customization din po ng layout po ng business permit for barangay clearance and for business retirement certificate, and of course yung ating pong business permit, maka-customize na po yun ng LGU. Yan. So that ends po yung aking short AVP with the eBPLS. So now I will be presenting naman po yung isa ko pong presentation for the eBPLS update. So, wait lang po, share ko lang po yung screen. Yan. Okay. So, I think nakikita naman po yung presentation ko. Yan. So this was supposed to be presented by our project manager, Miss Delia Ibasada, but unfortunately she is having a meeting. Medyo busy din po si Ma'am. So for DICT Luzon Cluster 3, which covers Mimaropa region, ako po yung naatasan to discuss po the eBPLS software updates. So meron po tayong mga major updates po sa eBPLS. Ito po yung integration of barangay clearance at ito po yung example po ng barangay clearance na application po natin. So embedded na po, gaya nga po na nasabi ko kanina, embedded na po yung barangay clearance application po natin. So integrated barangay or integrated application and processing for barangay clearance together with the application for business permit. So if kailangan na po ni client yung barangay clearance, hindi na niya na po kailangan pumunta pa doon sa barangay para mag-apply kasi nandito na po siya sa system, embedded na po siya. So dito po makakapag-apply na rin po siya ng barangay clearance. Yan. So ito po yung generation po ng barangay clearance together with the business permit. So kung mapapansin po ninyo, once na na-issue na po yung business permit po ni client, makikita na rin po natin yung kanya pong barangay clearance. So we can also give it, or we can also produce a copy of that. Ito po yung yan. So issuance of the barangay clearance together with the business permit. Yan. Okay? So yung business retirement naman po, ito po yung added features po ng atin pong eBPLS. So yung mga establishments po natin or business owners po ngayon, pwede na po sila mag-apply ng closure or retirement online. So kung sila naman po ay merong pong internet sa bahay, they can do it online na po electronically. So, and they can also specify kung ano po ba yung mga line of businesses po na kanila pong i-retire, for example. Yan. Ito po yung example po ng business retirement na form or yung business retirement application na atin pong nasa system, nakalagay po sa ating system. So, yan, kung makikita po ninyo, dyan po yung business name, yan, kung ano po yung line of business, for example, etc. And yan po yung sample ng application po. And of course, yung eBPLS po natin, nakakapag-issue po siya, syempre, ng Certification of Business Retirement. So, ito po yung example po ng retirement issuance. Yan. So, yan. So, yun sa LGU customized templates naman po, since marami pong LGUs currently, yung mga gumagamit po ng eBPLS, marami pong LGUs kasi yung nagsasabi or nagtatanong po sa amin if pwede po bang magkaroon ng customization yung atin pong mga business permit. So, ang ginawa po namin, dun po sa bagong update, since hindi po namin kayang i-cater lahat po ng mga queries ng ating po mga LGUs kasi masyado nga pong madami. So, we allowed them po na sila na po yung mag-customize ng kanila pong mga permits or clearances. So, for example, yan, ito po yung example po na makakapag-customize na po sila ng kanila pong business permit. Yan. So, per line of business, pwede po silang magawa. Yan. And of course, yan. Sa system din po natin, nakakapag-generate na rin po tayo per line of business ng business permit po. Okay, so use predefined template in the system or pwede rin po kayong, yun nga, mag-customize. So, meron po kasi tayong existing po na pre-default or predefined po na mga business permit templates na pwede na pong piliin or i-select ng atin pong mga LGUs kung ayaw po nila na mag-customize. Or meron din po silang option na ngayon na pwede po sila na yung mag-customize po ng kanila pong sariling template. So dito po sa LGU customization ng kanila po mga permit template, pwede na po kayo maglagay ng inyo po mga sariling logo kung saan nyo po siya gustong ilagay. For example, kung sa kanan, upper right, kung sa gitna, kung sa upper left corner, kung pwede rin po sa baba, depende na po yun sa inyo. Yan. So, of course, yun din pong orientation kung saan nyo po gustong ilagay yung name ng owner, yung application type, yung business name, etc. So, kayo na po, meron na po kayong free will, kumbaga, kung paano nyo po i-customize yung inyo pong permit template. That applies din po sa atin pong retirement certificate template. So, kayo din po makakapag-gawa din po kayo ng inyo pong sariling customized na business retirement certificate template para po sa inyong LGU. Kung ayaw nyo po nung predefined na template, kasi meron na po tayong 3 na gawa na po na template dyan po sa atin pong system, pwede nyo na po siyang piliin or pwede naman po nga na kayo po yung gumawa for your LGU. Yan. So the BPLO can now choose whether they want to use the predefined template or customize their own barangay clearance certificate. So as well as yung atin pong barangay clearance, pwede rin po, tayo na rin po yung pwede mag-customize kung ano pong itsura ng atin pong magiging barangay clearance na i-issue po sa atin pong mga client. So we have the free will to do it na po. Yan. So ano pa po ba yung mga other system updates po with eBPLS? So sa eBPLS po, since naintindihan po natin yung ibang LGUs po na medyo complicated yung kanilang mga local revenue code, and naintindihan po natin na since mahirap nga po minsan na i-apply po yun sa system, we have included po yung mga sub-range po na tinatawag, for example. So in this assessment rules po, there is a new option to add sub-range or range within the range option to compute the fees. Yan. So since alam naman po namin na yung nga pong ibang LGUs may complicated na revenue code or tax scheduling, ito na po, in-include na po yun namin sa system. And yan. So uploading the copy of signed business permit. So pwede na rin pong mag-upload ng copy ng business permit ating pong mga client digitally or electronically signed and issued business permit to eBPLS. Yan. Now, yung atin pong other updates po sa atin pong system is yung setup po ng official receipt or yung OR po natin. May horizontal and vertical. I think yung horizontal is available siya or parang sa Visayas region kasi siya medyo common eh. Dito naman po yata sa Luzon or sa Mimaropa puro vertical. So the treasury head has an option to update the setup of the OR. So si Treasury meron na po siyang option na i-update po yung setup po ng OR nila. So pwede rin po tayo mag-issue ng multiple OR if yan po ay nasa revenue code din po natin. And we can also change the OR printing orientation. Gaya nga po na nasabi ko kanina, pwedeng horizontal or vertical. And also to assign OR booklet per collection officer. Yan. So, yan, assigning of OR number. So, yan po yung example. Yan. Assignment of official receipt booklet per collection officer. So, yan po yung example po ng OR na pwede nating i-print vertically and horizontally. Yan po yung sample. Yan. So, as I've mentioned po kanina, we have or we're looking forward dun po sa EOR or sa electronic official receipt. So currently, hindi pa po kasi siya present pero hindi pa po siya available sa system. But in due time, sana po, yun, doon na rin po naman tayo papunta sa pagkakaroon po ng issuance po ng OR electronically. So ito po ay ready na po sa system anytime soon na payagan po. Okay? So yan. So selection of fees to be printed in the OR, pwede na rin po kayong makapili kung ano po yung mga isasama po natin ng mga fees to be printed sa atin pong OR. So as you can see sa atin pong slide presentation, ayan, nakikita nyo po kung ano lang po yung mga selected po na fees na magre-reflect po sa atin pong OR or official receipt. So, what's next for eBPLS? So, kagaya nga po na nasabi ko po kanina, ang dami na pong updates po na nangyari sa eBPLS. Ano po? So, ito naman po yung mga susunod na mga updates pa na pwede pa mangyari sa eBPLS. So, yun nga po, ang unang-una na po dyan, by next year, yung integration po ng IBPLS. So, by next year, yung pong mga currently na nag-i-implement na po ng mga LGU sa Mimaropa ng eBPLS, like for example, sa Oriental Mindoro, we have a few, or I mean, we have many na pala sa Oriental Mindoro. Sila po yung ipaprioritize po namin to have the IBPLS. So, magkakaroon din po tayo ng trainings po dyan bago po namin ipa-implement po yun sa inyo pong LGU. And yung linkage po with the central business portal. So yung mga datas po na needed po natin sa mga national government agencies, nakalink na po yung eBPLS po doon. So hindi na po natin kailangan na pumunta pa personally, but since link na po tayo dun sa central business portal, which hopefully by this year ano na siya, mag-materialize na siya, yun na po yung mangyayari. So mayroon na po tayong link sa Central Business Portal. and yung viewing and downloading of permits and licenses at the system. So yung atin pong mga clients po, meron na po silang option or magkakaroon na po sila ng authority na sila mismo yung makapag-download, makapag-print ng kanila pong mga business permit. Okay, so I think that ends po my presentation for IBPLS and eBPLS. So if you have further questions or if you have clarifications or violent reactions, you may address your question to our chat box po. Thank you, thank you.
Hello? Ayan. Thank you, Sir Clark. Teka, ko muna ang aking video.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you po.
Thank you, Sir Clark. Actually, we have 2 questions here. The first one is from LGU Calapan City po. Ang question niya po is, to avail of the services of the ICT regarding IBPLS, how can we apply? Is there a template to follow regarding the documentary requirements?
Okay. Thank you po for that question. You can communicate po sa amin po for siguro mas thorough or mas detailed na kailangan ninyong details for the requirements. But I will be giving you out siguro dito sa atin pong chat box kung ano-ano po yung mga requirements na yon. So, sige po. Okay lang po ba, ma'am, na i-chat ko na lamang po? Ilagay ko
Yes,
sa
sir.
chat
Or
box.
ano po, you can email us po, tapos ibigay na rin po namin para po sa lahat ng requirement. Baka po,
Okay.
kailangan din po nila ng list po ng requirements nila, sir.
Ay, yes po, ma'am. Sige po. So, basically, ang kailangan lang naman po namin, just to give you a short overview of what the requirements are needed. Syempre, yung letter of intent, yun po kasi yung parang pinakamahalaga po talaga sa lahat. Since kailangan po namin kasi talaga na malaman yung commitment po ng LGU sa sa paggamit po ng eBPLS or IBPLS.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And another po, we have a question here from Sir Felix Echeverria Jr. Is there a possibility of one connection, one eBPLS, one DICT, meaning LGU, BFP, DICT, ARTA, and other agencies concerned implementing the EODB law, interconnected to each other in just a single click?
Okay. So, that's a very technical question, ma'am. But I think kanina po, gaya na mention ko about the CBP, I'm not sure if ARTA is included dun po sa CBP or dun sa Central Business Portal. Just to give you a short overview of what the CBP is all about, yung atin pong Central Business Portal is linkages po siya. Kumbaga nasa iisang portal na po lahat ng mga NGAs na needed or na concerned NGAs. So, yung mga kailangan po natin doon, like for example, sa BIR or sa DTI, ando doon na po lahat. So, hindi na po natin kailangan pa na na kumbaga access po natin sila or tatawagan pa natin sila kasi available na po dun yung resources na needed po natin.
Okay, so thank you, Sir Clark. I-clarify ko lang, Sir Clark, in the works po ba ang ating Central Business Portal or okay na po siya?
I think, ma'am, it's already complete, but I think by this fourth quarter, I'm not sure, or by first quarter of next year, implemented na po or magkakaroon na po siya ng implementation na po siya. I think yun po yung safe answer doon. But this year, I think bago mag 2021, ginagawa na po yun or na siya. Magtutuloy-tuloy na po yung Central Business Portal natin.
So, thank you po ulit, Sir Clark. Okay. So, another one from Ma'am Gina, LA. I think para sa amin ito. For barangay clearances or certification, it seems na hands-off na ang mga barangay captain. Meaning, may made up na barangay clearance na naka-lodge sa municipal treasury. Okay, actually po, ito po ay topic namin kahapon, the integration of the barangay clearance. Hello, Ma'am Gina? Actually po, if naka-attend, kung yun po yung ano nyo, yesterday po kasi naitanong din po itong question na ito. Ang sagot po namin dyan, it is not the LGU po ang mag-ano, but naka-ano lang din po sila. Meron po kasing communication pa rin between the LGU and the barangay. It is the barangay pa rin po na tawag dito, na mag-i-issue. But then po kasi naka-integrate lang din po yung mismong physical na barangay clearance sa loob po ng either po ng boss or ng OSCP. Hello, Ma'am Gina.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po. So definitely, ma'am, hindi po, meron pa rin pong say talaga ang mga barangay po dito sa pag-issue po ng barangay clearance po natin. Hello, ma'am. Naririnig niyo po ba ako, ma'am? Okay, so siguro po balikan po natin si Ma'am G na may iba pa po bang question?
Okay, copy, ma'am. Thank you.
Copy daw po, Ma'am Kim.
Okay, thank you po, ma'am. Okay, so this is from Sir Noel. Okay, Sir Clark, may tanong po si Sir Noel from Romblon. Sir Clark, kumusta po ang aming application for eBPLS?
Okay. Thank you po. So, kay Sir Noel, LG Romblon po ba ito?
Yes, sir.
Romblon po ba yung LGU po natin? If Romblon po, I have already given to Sir Walter Abobo yung pong requirements as well as yun pong sample draft po ng MOA for the deliberation po ng Sangguniang Bayan po sa inyo pong munisipyo. So for that, I think i-follow up na lang po namin kay Sir Walter yung pong application po ninyo for eBPLS.
Okay po. Sir Clark, thank you po ulit. Other questions po? From YouTube, meron pa po ba? Okay, no more questions. So, I think that's it po, Sir Clark. Thank you very much po sa pagpapaunlak sa aming invitation. Alam kong super busy kayo ngayon sa implementation ng IBPL sa San Teodoro.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Okay po. This will definitely help po na masunod po natin ang mga provisions ng EODB law, lalong-lalo na po doon sa automation po ng system natin na binibigyan lang po tayo ng 3 years from 2018 kasi 2018 na enact po ang EODB law. Okay, another po, for those po, kasi may nag-chat po na medyo malabo daw po yung presentations po kanina. Pwede niyo pong balikan itong ating activity. Recorded naman po ito sa YouTube channel po ng LGCDD po. So, ilalagay po namin yung link sa chat box. And please like na rin po. Okay. So, with this, kung wala na po ulit mga questions, going once, going twice. Okay. Siguro we will proceed na rin po with our closing ceremonies. Okay, meron dito. Good afternoon po. Pwede po ba makahingi ng presentations? Yes po, regarding po the presentations, calculate po muna namin lahat ng presentations namin from the first activity up to this. And then isa-send po namin ang link. Okay po. To formally close po our activity, for the rollout on regulatory reform for LGUs or R4LGUs and eBPLS, let me call on Ma'am Jackie C. Manalon, our Assistant Division Chief.
Thank you, Kim.
Ma'am Jackie, naka-mute po kayo.
Thank you, Kim. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Congratulations on finally completing the ease of doing business activities. And for those who have stayed and keep themselves connected, despite yung ating internet connectivity, I applaud you for your efforts and continue to make your local government improve its ease in doing business. These efforts are without a doubt will elevate your services and improve your economic activity in your locality. So at your level po, you will make doing business at your locality seamless and easy. Records will be tracked and fees are being monitored, thereby, of course, reducing human errors. Through this effort, as a consequence, we help improve our country's performance in the global index on the ease of doing business, and we are finally right on track. So the importance of this activity that you have undertaken is applicable to what we are currently facing now. That is the COVID-19 situation. So we are faced with making our transactions available to our constituents at the tip of their hands. How are we going to continue our collections and operations under the new normal? So alam niyo na po kung ano ang ibig ko pong sabihin. So with this activity, we hope that we have imparted with you the foundation of what needs to be done at your locality. The law may have required us to do this, but the importance of why we need it lies with the reality of your situation. Of course, this activity will not be successful without the assistance of our resource speakers from BLGD, Ms. Lian Lara, and Mr. John Renz Galua, to our partners, Mr. Xavier Astor, Ms. Evangeline Mabiog, Mr. Carl Lemil Jacosalem, and Ms. Karen Agitania of ARTA, and Mr. Clark Sarmiento of the ICT Luzon Cluster 3. We thank you on behalf of the ILG Mimaropa region, headed by our Regional Director, Wilhelm M. Suico. And of course, to my never-end tiring team, our Local Government Capacity Development Division, headed by our beautiful ladies, LGO Force Kimberly Katakes and Rayan Maranan. Congratulations to a successful activity. Muli po, maraming salamat, and back to you, Miss Kim.
Thank you, Ma'am Jackie. And now, let us proceed to the awarding of the certificates. Okay, so let me read first po ang laman po ng ating certificate. Okay, The Department of the Interior and Local Government, Mimaropa Region, presents the Certificate of Appreciation to for sharing your valuable time, effort, and expertise as a resource person during the conduct of the online rollout on the regulatory reform for LGUs and eBPLS, held on October 22, 2020, given this 22nd day of October 2020. Signed, Wilhelm M. Suico, CESO 4, Regional Director. Okay, so this certificate of appreciation is presented to Ma'am Louie de la Peña. Yung nagsabi po sa akin si Ma'am Louie na mauuna na po siya kasi po meron po siyang urgent meeting, same with the team po from the BLGD. So the same certificate of appreciation is awarded to Miss Lian Lara of the DILG Bureau of Local Government and Development. Same certificate of appreciation is awarded to John Renz Gelua of DILG BLGD. And also, same certificate of appreciation is awarded to Carlemil Jacosalem of the Anti-Red Tape Authority, Karen Akitana, and Evangeline Mabiog. Okay, Sir Clark, since kayo na lang din po ang natitira dito, this certificate of appreciation is awarded to Sir Clark Christopher Sarmiento of DICT-LC3 for sharing his valuable time, effort, and expertise as a resource person during the conduct of online rollout on regulatory reform for LGUs and eBPLS. Held on October 22, 2020, given this 22nd day of October 2020, signed Wilhelm M. Suico, CESO 4, Regional Director. Okay. Na-picture na po ba si Sir Clark?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Sid. Sir Clark, thank you very much po for being with us. And for our participants, so the DILG Mimaropa awards the Certificate of Participation to for actively participating in the conduct of the regional rollout on regulatory reform for LGUs and eBPLS, held on October 22, 2020, given this 22nd day of October 2020, signed Wilhelm M. Suico, CESO 4, Regional Director. So the certificate of participation po will be emailed to our participants who nakatapos po ng ating mga ISO requirements. So please do not forget to log out po dun sa link po natin. Same link po kung saan po tayo nag-sign in. And ilalagay po sa chat box. And same with those po na nasa group viewing, please log out po individually to receive po your certificate of participation. Okay, so that's it po. Thank you everyone. I hope may mga natutunan po kayong mga bago dito po sa ating activity on the rollout on the regulatory reform for LGUs and eBPLS. So have a good day po everyone. Sige po, since hindi pa naman kayo lahat